I also want to express my gratitude, Mr. Engel and colleagues, for work, because this comes into the world for a long time, after a long time. Also, I have some remarks to all these reports. So my several comments on this report. First of all, I believe this is a union of cooperation, European Union, and not one of coercion. The EU should restrict its lawmaking to the limits of its competencies laid out in the treaties. Unfortunately, I am persuaded that this report fails to do so. We may wish to extend these powers to solve problems, but we cannot just decide this without a legal basis to do it. I was glad to support amendments that highlighted the plight of Christians as they are persecuted in the European Union, the ground of European Union, as part of the migration flow, and by those with intolerant and radical ideological agendas. I just got back from Greece, from a refugees camp, and I personally spoke to witnesses of such a persecution. These people were beaten and terribly severely attacked. Either experiences rapes, either different kind of violence, while the very fanatical Muslims who live in accordance with Sharia law. This is a practice what they do experience in the refugee camp. And I don't think we take any care of this, and we don't know it. So, however, I got a feeling by reading some parts of the document that Europe is a region of fear. So many fears are mentioned here, so many phobias. This is kind of a reign of phobias, like xenophobia, they were mentioned, transphobia, Islamophobia, intersex phobia, homophobia, Afrophobia, fear of all classes, races, and group identities. But if we come into a situation that if being afraid to speak our mind because someone will not agree with our viewpoint, that's why we keep quiet. And watch fundamental rights, we will see fundamental rights and traditional European values disappear in the wind. We must be careful with our language and cannot loosely refer to European values. Can we please define it better? We must have free speech to express opposing views on Christianity, family, protection of life from conception to natural death, and to debate them without fear of violence or coercion. I'm a full supporter of natural, traditional families. They are the key to ensure success of our continent. Probably every one of us very well know that we face a big challenge with the coming demographic winter, where too few babies are being born in our nations. Do we expect that migration flow will bring us enough children and citizens? So all measures to support parents in their role as educators, value trainers, and model citizens must be supported. Mothers especially should be honored as the bearers and nurturers of our children, not encouraged to kill their children. Full genuine health care should be given to these brave citizens, self-sacrificing for the future of our continent. Therefore, I will oppose anyone who threatens to erode the role of parents. My grave objection is to paragraph 64, which cites, and this really gives me concern, I'm citing, deplore the fact that several member states today still impose requirements on transgender people, such as medical intervention, in order to have the changed gender recognized, including in passports and official identity documents, and forced sterilization as a condition for gender reassignment. This might bring enormous chaos into legislation. Can you imagine the situation? A man comes to a cleric at the office and says, I'm a lady, give me a new passport. So far, we were demanding that someone really undergo a treatment and change his body. Now we do not. Do we expect that this is right? What do we want to achieve? It's my question. Another striking paragraph is cited. Welcome the initiative shown by the Commission in pushing for the depathologisation of transgender identities in the review of the World Health Organization's International Classification of Diseases, calls on the Commission to intensify efforts to prevent gender variance in childhood from becoming a new ICD diagnosis. Shall politicians, this is my question, shall politicians deal with medical issues, or shall we leave it for medicine experts, researchers and doctors? Just to add, with a very, very difficult event ongoing right now in Slovakia, I cannot finish this statement without coming back to the tragedy of murdered Slovak journalist Jan Kuciak and his fiancée Martina Kušnírova, which is at the moment paralyzing Slovakian society, and I think Europe echoes it. From this place, I would like to say we appreciate the work of journalists, and we must protect freedom of speech on all levels, including the work of journalists on every level in the whole European Union. Thank you for your attention.
What should be, according to you, the right answer to what happened in Slovakia? And did you think such a thing would be possible in your country? Thank you.
It's a terribly negative surprise. Nobody did expect that murder of such a kind can happen. And we have ongoing problems with corruption on highest places of our political representation in Slovakia. And we can see that the majority of a governing party simply doing what they like, as they feel such a power in all the institutions in Slovakia. Kind of comradeship is everywhere, people helping people cover anything. So we have so many difficult, deep problems, and the journalists were the only ones who are brave enough to speak out. So far, they were becoming more and more dangerous in uncovering political plots or businesses behind the scene. But what's happened now, I think, needs to awake the consciousness even in Europe, not only in Slovakia. We have difficulties to investigate, and I really would be happy to see an international press or international push that our country will do much more, and we would get some international overseeing.